long time no vlog, but seeing as I have a day off and it is incredibly hot in my house and I am incredibly bored, I decided why not do a behind the scenes tour of my Halloween village, aka my spooky town, and just give you a glimpse at some of the details and hidden characters, cameos, things like that, that you might not have seen in my previous Spooky Town video. So let's take a look. All right, here it is, completely motionless. This is your behind the scenes look at my Halloween village with the lights off. It says here only 58 days until Halloween, but to be completely honest with you, it has been Halloween in our living room since at least August 15th. I did kind of jump the gun in setting up early this year. I just got really excited and eager, and I just wanted to get it set up so I could enjoy it for more than just, 1 or 2 months. So I'm going to be enjoying this for 3 months. I think I might be the only person in my house who does enjoy it, but that's beside the point. So the biggest feedback I've gotten so far has been, well, how do you see everything? How do you reach everything? How do you access everything? How does it turn on, etc.? I will admit that is a design flaw on my part. I should have formatted this like a U, if that makes sense. U-shaped arena of tables instead of this weird 7-table setup. As you can see, there's literally no way to get to this big table unless I go to the couch behind it. So I think that for next year I will reformat and set it up like a U so I'm able to access things easier. Plus there's little vignettes like the city right here or the park up here where you just really can't catch all the details if you're looking from far away. Just things to think about for next year. Obviously well over 365 days away, but it's never too early to start planning, am I right? This is only my second year complaining. This is only my second year collecting, so I was just really excited and eager. This hobby is very therapeutic for me. As someone who suffers from anxiety, depression, etc., this, for whatever reason, helps me. It helps me cope. I feel like I'm in control of it, and I can just use my imagination and have fun with it. So it's a very relaxing and fun hobby. I know I'm not alone in this. There are a lot of people who are obsessed, even more so than I am. You would be amazed with the Facebook groups about Spooky Town, the YouTube channels. So this right here, the Haunted House of Props, is the first building I ever bought way back in July of 2018. So I told myself at the time I was really into collecting Christmas villages. I said, oh, I'll just throw this in my Christmas village and put some snow on it. It'll be funny to have like a Halloween building. That ended up not lasting. I quickly grew to include Frankenstein's Laboratory, the Witch's Tower, Wasteland Pub right here, Haunted Museum, Monster Hunting Supply way over here, Graveside Diner, and I think that's all I had last year, if I'm not mistaken. I might be forgetting. Oh, and then Shivering Pines Cabin way back in the corner. And since November 1st of last year, I have been collecting basically 1 or 2 buildings a month. That's not even including figures or table accents or anything like that. If I had to choose a favorite building, I think you can't go wrong with the classic Monsters Ball. This one, it's all the classic Universal monsters. I mean, there's a dragon flying above it, Phantom of the Opera. This is the very first Spooky Town piece I ever saw way back in 2005 when it was new. I particularly remember the vampire and his victim. And I really wanted to take this piece home, but obviously I was probably 12 and didn't have $100 at the time. But now that I am working, I have money and I can buy things. In regard to my all-time favorite Spooky Town piece, it would be this one right here, Terror on the Nile. Now, I actually used to work at the Indiana Jones Adventure attraction in Disneyland, so giant snakes, particularly cobras, have a special place in my heart, and I even put the Lemax Temple of Terror in a small jungle scene up above the snake, just to give it that little extra tribute to my career with Disney back in the day. I even have the TikTok crocodile from Peter Pan. My favorite area in my display would definitely be Egypt here. Egypt was kind of an afterthought this year. A lot of these pieces are getting harder to find. They're being retired, out of production, everything. Sorry for that camera work. So I figured, you know, I might as well get a jump on it now before they're price gouged to Kingdom Come on eBay. So we got the Chariot, oh God, what is it called? Cursed Tomb, maybe? Curse of the Mummy. I love the Anubis guy right there. Just a mummy, little cobra, and then a pharaoh and his queen are arguing right here at the Haunted Pyramid while they chase each other. So yeah, I really enjoy the Egypt area, but that's not to say I don't like everything else. Obviously, I like everything else. My favorite creature to include in Spooky Town would be vampires. I think I have well over 30 vampires. I actually just got the vampire caverns recently added to my display, so that won't be in the video that I posted with all the editing and everything. But just in this area alone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's one on the dreaded Zeppelin. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 vampires just on this table alone. Oh, not even including these guys. So there's 13 and 14 is in the doorway. And there are way more out there in the, you know, the rest of the display. There's the guy carrying his dead girl over there. And then I have the elusive and hard to find Coffins Are Us piece. I was very lucky to get this. And I got it for 30 bucks, no doubt. I've seen that for like $150 on eBay. And then these two guys actually aren't Spooky Town at all. This vampire and his bride are from the Ashland Tiny Treasures line at Michael's, and they fit perfectly, so cool. Piece with the most importance to me at the moment would be this Frankenstein's monster and his bride getting their wedding picture taken. I actually got this from a buddy of mine as means of asking me to be one of his groomsmen in his wedding, so that was really nice and cool. It was very thoughtful, and I love it. My favorite piece of the 2019 line would be the Crazy Clown Express. A lot of people like this train, and it's actually the easiest thing to turn on in my village, so I will just turn that on really quick. It really reminds me of like the Joker from Batman, to be honest with you, which I'm excited for that movie coming out. There we go. Yeah, so that's probably my favorite 2019 piece. The runner-up would be the Garden of Eden. They have done man-eating plants before in the past with Spooky Town Department 56, but this building, in my opinion, takes the cake. Some of these buildings I've received as gifts, like from family friends who are just getting rid of them. And since they weren't necessarily Halloween, I painted over them. So quite a few of the things in my display you won't find anywhere else just because I essentially made them. So let's look at the pieces that I worked on personally. So this is St. Drac's Wedding Chapel. It's open 24 hours. It's boarded up, and it's till death do us part. This is a Department 56 church that I completely renovated to make creepy. As you can see, there's a real fly on the steeple right here. Look at that. So that was a fun little bit to work on. And then over here we have the Phantom House. This is another of the Department 56 houses that I painted over. This is previously like a tan color, and I made it to look like it was on fire at some point, washed over. And then over here is yet another Department 56 house from the same line as the church and that other house. I call this one the Pumpkin House. So I just tacked on some pumpkins, gave it some new paint, and that's about it. And there's an elephant right here. This is just your typical PVC elephant toy you can get at a hobby shop. I just added some blood to the tusks and made his eyes red. Way over here, this is a Dungeons and Dragons character that I painted. And then I have a little zombie soccer game from the summer line for Lemax that I painted over, as well as this vampire kid playing fetch with his vampire dog. Oh, and then we have the kite flyers back there too. So those are all rehabbed figures. Even this gypsy wagon in the back is actually a fairy garden piece that I painted over. Now we're getting into the ugly side of things. This is the underbelly of the village. As you can see, there are a ton of wires. This isn't even half of it. I have 3 of these multiple outlet, surge protectors. And they are plugged into 3 separate walls, to be honest with you. Didn't want to, create any danger in terms of electrical outages or fires. And I also turn on every piece that is animated or lit with LED lights by hand. I don't have them set up in a way where I can just turn them on and off. I'm too afraid that I will short circuit the animated pieces, and I just don't want to risk it. I did last year where I would just turn it on and they'd come to life. But now, being a more experienced collector and learning things from Facebook groups, I know it's not the smartest thing to just turn it off or yank the plug, mostly because that could really damage the animated pieces, and I want them to last as long as possible. I don't really leave the village on that often. I only show it off as like a party trick, to be honest with you. So that's losing their animation isn't the biggest issue for me. I just would prefer everything would work. I already have 2 pieces that don't work. Spooky Hollow Pumpkin Patch right here. I dropped out of the box, and my dad and I worked on fixing it. Couldn't fix it. The wires were just damaged beyond repair, which is okay. I have these nifty little black lights that I turn on it. And then way over here, over by Oogie Boogie, is the Boogeyman's Hangout. I bought that piece used, and it just didn't work from the get-go, so I'll work on fixing that next year. But the unfortunate thing about most Lemax buildings is they aren't meant to last, which is too bad considering the price. Like, I'd love for them to work forever, so, my kids could see them in action one day. But that might not be the case. In the meanwhile, I'll just enjoy the hobby while I can and keep it in the best condition possible. If you are new to collecting Lemax Spooky Town, I highly suggest you check out the YouTube channel Spooky Villages. He gives great, Doug over there, that's his name. He gives good advice, good content, reviews of buildings, and he tells you how to start collecting. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. I just started with 1 building, ended up with 6 or 7, and now I have well over 35. Don't spend all your money at once. Budget. I keep track of everything I spend. I get as many deals as possible. Michael's is great about coupons. There's a great website, eHobby Tools, that always has stuff on sale. Use your money wisely. Buy the stuff that you want. I would say pick a theme even. As you can see, I have multiple themes. I have Egypt, jungle, graveyard, pumpkin patch, trick-or-treat neighborhood, city, everything. There are other themes that I don't even touch upon. Like there's pirates, there's carnival, there's Western town, and I think that's about it. I don't do those themes because I know if I started, I would get in too deep and I'd be in trouble. So I already am in trouble with this, if you couldn't tell. So don't spend all your money at once. Use your money wisely, budget. I'd say if you really want to go all in like I did, buy 1 or 2 pieces a month and limit it to that. You'll have more than enough in a year's time. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more content about Spooky Town and things like that, let me know. I plan on doing another vlog this week. I'm going to go check out Haunted Mansion Holiday with my buddy Rob. And that's about it for today. So thanks.